And we're live.
That is funny. That's not very woke. But we were talking about the American Army and stuff. I wish that jobs all over the place had physical requirements, right? Like it. What happened? There was a cop. I went off on her.
Yeah.
Oh,
Taser,
she was the
taser,
one.
taser.
She mixed up her taser and her Glock, and a lot of people thought the root cause of that was mixing up the taser and the Glock. I saw it a little differently. The guys were like establishing risk control and pulling him out of the car. She can't play that game, so she went straight to weapons. And I feel like this is just a natural byproduct of weak cops. And I don't mean women cops, although they are often weak. I'm talking about weak cops. If you can't do 30 push-ups, you either lose your job or we find a desk job.
I think all cops should be able to bench press 150. Let's make that the minimum.
Sure.
2 reps, 150, you got a racket.
Okay. Yeah. And boom. Now there's a physical requirement.
Now there's no female cops.
If you go to the Army, different jobs could have different physical requirements. If you're going to find yourself in a scenario where you might have to pull a dude out of a tank, then you need to whatever fucking
the G.I. Jane scenario.
Is that a G.I. Jane thing? But yeah, then you need to be able to chainsaw 50 pounds or whatever, right? All right, this is a physical requirement if you have that job. If my brother-in-law was in the Air Force and his job was to look at pictures that were taken by surveillance, he was in intelligence, and just circle things that he thought people up the chain should look more closely at. A job like that, pretty much no physical requirements,
you
right?
You can curl 3 ounces, you're in.
You're right. If you can drink a beer, you get that job or whatever it is. Yeah, you know, so yeah, different jobs, different. If you work in IT, probably super low physical requirements.
Yeah.
If you're marching with a gun, probably super high physical requirements because you might have to pull someone to safety, and of course yourself and your gear.
The whole thing from G.I. Jane, it's the movie where Demi Moore signs up to be the first female Navy SEAL. And the recruitment, or the sergeant or whatever, the training guy who's played by Viggo Mortensen tells Demi Moore's character, while he's beating the shit out of her, he's like, you couldn't even pull your body weight out of the ocean this morning because you were soaking wet and wearing your gear, which, by the way, would be an incredibly difficult physical task after you'd already done all that PT. But she couldn't pull her own body weight out of the water into the boat, soaking wet with her gear on after doing physical stuff already. He's like, I pulled a man out of a burning tank, a 200-pound man with his gear on out of a burning tank. I helped lower a man into a tank one time. It is incredibly awkward. He weighed 150 pounds. It was hard because, like, it's just real awkward to like lower him in there. He was a handicapped veteran and he wanted to be able to shoot a tank. So we're like carefully lowering this guy who doesn't have the use of 3 of his limbs into a fucking tank. And there's 3 grown men doing this and we're all sweating by the time it's done. Cause you know, you don't just throw this guy in there like a sack of potatoes. He's already fucked up. So we're trying to easily get him in there. It was hard.
You might have a higher tolerance for bumping him on the edges if you're just rescuing him.
Yeah, and there are edges. Tanks do not have forgiving edges.
I was like, I wonder if modern ones do. Because I assume it wasn't like a current tank.
It certainly wasn't like a brand new tank. I don't remember exactly what it was. But, you know, whenever I've been in them, I usually wore some gear. Like especially if I wasn't on camera, you'd put the goofy ass helmets on and you can bang your head around in there. It doesn't hurt so much. They look absurd.
I've never been in a moving tank, but I'm guessing it moves in unpredictable ways, right? Like you don't get to see like a car and sort of anticipate all the stuff that's going to happen. It's just shaking around, right?
It's so heavy that it can't like do jolty stuff really. Everything it does is this like slow roll and pitch kind of thing because it's so big and heavy.
What kind of tank were you?
I've been in a tank destroyer and what kind was it? I don't know. I got a video of it. Let's see.
Yeah. You know, with the thing about physical requirements, as you're talking about that, you know, it's curious to me because, you know, the world's on a bell curve. Would you agree? Like you have most of us exist in the middle, then you have the extremes.
Sure.
You have like physical. So you have some women who are extremely strong who could probably do certain things, but there's aren't a lot of those. And then you have another aspect where there are a lot of men who just aren't capable to do what an average woman does. This bell curve. So with that in mind, if you remove the idea of gender from it and just go on capability for these specific jobs, that's a very easy thing to do. But why do you think that's so becomes so difficult to put that idea into the police force or fire departments or a search and rescue or the military? What is the resistance to that? Having
Hurts
that
people's feelings, right? It has to be that simple. It is to me anyway. Like, it just hurts people's feelings. And there should be. I used to be a lifeguard. I was lifeguard on the beach, and we had a couple dozen or hundreds of rescues every year. So you actually had to be able to fucking do this, and you requalified every year. I forget what I think it was a 2-minute 200-meter swim and a 6-minute mile, right? And if you didn't get that, you were fired. And we had, I think, 135 people, and 6 of them were girls. That's what the police force would look like if they had physical requirements that mattered. And
I disagree. I don't think there'd be any women. I don't think there'd be any women if because I think you should be able to. I don't know. I think there should be some real physical requirements. Like if we look at the job, I would say that being a police officer is more difficult than being a lifeguard, and I do not underrate how difficult being a lifeguard is. I just think that your main job is dragging people out of the water, right? And like swimming out long distance. Swimming at long distances and perhaps rescuing somebody who's so panicky that their first intuition is to take you down with them flailing.
That's not hard to deal with, though.
Yeah, fucking.
You just go under. You sink, then they don't want you anymore. It happens every time.
Oh, you want to go down? Well, let's go.
Yeah. I'm not the one panicking.
How long can you hold your breath, sir? My record's 3.5 minutes.
Woody, is that the move? You just start sinking and then they go, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's literally, they give a manual out to every rookie. You read it, and then you do it, and it works every time.
That's great. But like, if you're going to have to wrestle with people in the streets who are armed criminals, like, I don't know. I don't know that I'm qualified, motherfucker. Like I think you need to be I actually
can I choose my perps? I could do some.
Yeah.
I want to go after white collar crimes.
I think most men aren't qualified to be cops. I think that most cops aren't qualified to be cops. I'll say that. Like most cops I see, I'm like, I whoop your ass. Like, you can restrain. You'd have to shoot me if I was crazy. Like if I were crazed, you'd have to kill me because you're not physically capable of doing anything else.
And for women, that's like 100% of the scenarios.
100% of the scenarios.
You've been in a fist fight before in the street, right? You've boxed, you fought, you fought in a ring, which is one type of fighting. But you've been in a street fight. You've been like where the stakes are pretty freaking high. It's not. The movies have polluted our brains as to what physical interactions are. Like I've been in hockey fights, and it's okay because there's a referee, and my chances of getting killed are very slim because somebody's going to intercede if things go bad. I've also been in fights in bars, and even that has thing. But on a street, when you're dealing with somebody, it's the idea of you're going to put them in get them into a chokehold when they're manic and crazy, just like knife defense. If you've been in a knife fight, that's slashing your fight. You're not going to put you're going to take damage.
Yep. Oh no! I take my shirt off and wrap it around my fist so that
you were to take fuck up.
Someone's got a knife.
I'm kidding. I'm not stupid.
Even if you're highly skilled, somebody has a knife. You're going to take a serious amount of damage. They're going to slash and jab. You're going to take a lot of damage, and you're looking out with your life. So when you put a cop in a situation who's got to deal with somebody who's agitated, hyper, and somebody who may be on drugs or may be agitated, there isn't many people in the world who can take down somebody of an equal size when they're agitated and violent and like again, you've fought, you've been in fights. Like it's a battle.
I don't think I've been in this kind of fight. No, I've never been in an adult street fight.
You fought for your life in the streets, right? We all have. Well, I don't know.
Maybe James has. I have not. No.
A little boxing every now and then.
I've been into my share of arguments. Okay,
I've shouted.
Was that James?
No, but even if you're in like a pushing you're pushing somebody, it escalates quickly. And unless you really know how to balance yourself, at least you've got a lot of practice. Even a pushing match can be kind of very eventful. It's just when I see some of these videos of cops dealing with people, like if you don't understand what it takes just to keep yourself safe, you're not going to dominate somebody. I mean, maybe if you're a great, a heavyweight MMA guy, you may have a chance that somebody smaller, they're not going to take any damage. But there's this unrealistic idea that cops can somehow subdue somebody without any type of physical.
I disagree. I all the videos I see,
depends on the criminal.
Cops are absolutely dominating the other guy. And Taylor, you're right, it does. And it's because the other guy's hardly fighting back. Like when a person resists arrest, they're kind of like just not fully putting their hands behind their back. In most of the videos I see, they're just kind of like walking away or like, slipping.
They haven't
towards...
gone into full attack mode. They're more in like, no, I don't wanna. No, they're like a kid who doesn't want to get in the car. They're just like, no, I don't want to get in the car.
And
if a bigger dude is
square
just like,
up with a policeman,
also,
it's rare.
There's rule of thumb here. Always watch the first 5 minutes of the video and the last 5, not just what you're fed, what we're fed on our outlets, because I'm in a business. I can manipulate everything. When I edit, I can make the same scene look polarly opposite.
Oh yeah, you're going to come off terrible on this podcast.
By the way, we've been here 4 hours. These are 30 minutes long.
You guys have no idea how racist he's about to look.
What, you just watch it on Saturday and it's like, my name is James and I am gay. It's like, man, they really screwed me.
I fucked up more than my share, believe me.